Hi everyone. I wanted to share a couple of messages with you concerning these turbulent times we are entering right now. I know a lot of people are troubled, a lot of people are scared concerning what is happening. And I would like to begin by talking about this virus, and more specifically about what is a virus. So a virus is almost like a parasite, almost like bad bacteria, we should say. So what determines the fact that we're going to catch the virus or not? Well, first of all, of course, it depends upon the immune system. So if we have a low immune system, we are more likely to catch the virus. But on a psycho-emotional level, an energetic level, there is another aspect to it. When we catch a disease, whether it's a virus, bacteria, or whatever, it always enters our field and our physical body where we don't have enough awareness there. So, for example, when we repress or suppress certain emotions or certain things that we don't want to see. So when we abandon our body and certain aspects of the body, and that might be the physical body but also the emotional body most of all, then we have more chances of catching a virus or bad bacteria, because it's almost like we left the space so that the parasite could enter. And more specifically, when we look at the coronavirus, it attacks the lungs. And the lungs is all about grief and sadness. So we might ask ourselves, currently in the world, maybe we need to address a certain emotion concerning grief or sadness. Maybe humanity is sad, maybe humanity needs to be in grief right now. And I think it would be really interesting also to look within individually to see where we're at concerning this emotion, this specific emotion. So the other question that we might ask is, what is the most dangerous virus in the end? Is it really this coronavirus, or is it this propaganda of fear that is being spread through and in the media right now? So I think it's really interesting to see what it actually triggers in human beings. And this is absolutely not useless, what is happening right now, because what it triggers is this kind of ancestral fear that we all hold on a cellular level, which is the survival, the fear for survival, So it triggers this survival mechanism. And, through the fear of lack of food, lack of money, what's going to happen with my money, where is my security? All this, of course, leads to the fear of death. Because when we are in survival mode, that's the ultimate fear. It's the fear of dying, and we have to struggle for our survival, So individually, it's really interesting to look at this fear, if we feel it. Because on some level, I'm sure that everyone kind of feels it at different levels, of course, but this also talks about the first chakra, and I've certainly been feeling that chakra a lot lately. It's really being activated, and I can feel it in the collective as well. And the first chakra really tells us also to stay grounded, to stay connected to the earth, to stay connected to the body, because as I said before, the fact that we are not paying attention to the body, if we abandon our bodies, then we leave the space open for diseases to come in. So this is really an interesting message, I think, and also to see that in the end, all these measures that are being taken and that we are isolating everyone and saying we shouldn't touch ourselves, we shouldn't hug ourselves, where in fact, when we hug someone, it actually creates a well-being hormone. It's oxytocin, and which actually helps the immune system to be stronger. So this is completely mad. And of course, the opposite to that is the hormone of cortisol, which is the hormone of stress, and that is being fed very largely right now. So the nature of the universe is the one of polarities, of two extremes in a way. So yin and yang, black and white, light and dark. And this is the way the universe is structured. So some might call it duality, But what is really important to understand is that to experience one aspect, one polarity, we need to experience the other. So, for example, each and every one in our lives, we go through difficult times sometimes, and we go very low sometimes, also on an emotional level. But know that every time that you go low on an emotional level and that you are healing something, then you are preparing yourself to be kind of propelled to the other side of the polarity, so the other extreme. So the lower you go, the higher you get, in a way. And this is how you pass through different levels of consciousness and awareness. Concerning what is happening right now, where we are all bombarded with this fear, then what do we need to do in this case? And as light workers, I know that many of us have been on this path for a while now, and many of us knew that this whole thing that is happening right now would happen, so we might call it the collapse. And even though we knew, and even though we are awake and we are aware of what is going on, that doesn't mean that we are superior to the others that are still asleep. So, for example, the people that are stampeding on the toilet paper. Doesn't mean we are superior to them. It just means that we have basically a responsibility. And that responsibility is now to anchor the other polarity. And the opposite of fear is love. The opposite of fear is joy. And the opposite of fear is peace. So I think our responsibility right now as awakened beings or light workers, or however we want to call ourselves, is to be able to really anchor this light on the planet right now. And the way we are going to succeed in that is, first of all, to maybe take the opportunity in the times ahead where we are going to be maybe more confined, not going out so much, or in quarantine for certain countries. It's just to take the time to come back to ourselves and to find this presence and stillness within. And this is a very important energy that I'm feeling right now for us to completely integrate. We can be, observers of the exterior world, the kind of theater play that is going on, and knowing that all the masks will come down one day. But it's even more interesting to be an observer for our own inner theater play and our own masks. And that means being more aware of our mind, our egos, and what is happening there. And seeing how we identify with what is being said. So this is what I mean by finding our light within, our divine presence. And the more we're going to be able to find that divine presence within, the more we radiate that presence. And the more we are anchors for peace and for love and for light. So as you can see, it is really time. It is really time to act upon what we have been prepared for so long as light workers. And I want to share with you a vision I had during a meditation. I think it was about maybe 10 days ago, where I was with my inner child, and we were in a very beautiful environment in nature, very light-filled, and it was almost like we were on a sort of platform. And then when we came to the edge of the platform, she showed me a kind of devastated landscape of Earth being completely destroyed. It was very dark. I could see smoke, I could see fire, it was really a horrible vision, and I started to feel a lot of things emotionally because, of course, it was not very pleasant. And my inner child said to me, "But don't worry, because we are safe here." And then she just continued along and along the path and continued to play. But what she wanted to show me is this this other dimension that does exist, a dimension where the Earth is destroyed, but we are safe because we are on this other plane, in this other dimension where Earth is ascending. And I've talked about that in one of my videos that I did a couple of years ago, which is called Ascension and the Nature of Reality. And if you haven't seen it, then you can go have a look, because I explain exactly how this works, how we have infinite different possible timelines, and there are two extremes. There's one extreme where the Earth is destroyed, and there's another extreme where there's this ascension to the 5D. And everything that exists in between, and it's very important to know on which side of the scale we are on regarding what reality we want to experience. It is also important to consider that even though we are witnessing a lot of darkness right now, a lot of fear, struggle, panic, madness in the world, all of what is happening right now, so this collapse, which will also lead to the economy collapsing, is really going to be very positive in the end, because it will generate change within the economy, within the political system, within all areas of our society that desperately need to change. And change can only happen through a kind of collapse. And as I said before, it's also happening through these opposite polarities. So to experience more light, we need to experience darkness first. And the fact that we are going to go deeper into the darkness will propel us faster and higher into the light. And of course, there are many different perspectives also on this coronavirus, and I would like to share with you a kind of perspective that I also got, let's say more like a 3D perspective. One of my ex-boyfriends is Italian, and he happens also to be a doctor, and I was thinking about him in the past few days. I was wondering if he was okay, so I contacted him, and we started a little bit chatting about what was going on in Italy right now. So for those of you who don't know, Italy is now under a national quarantine. So people are confined in their homes, not allowed to go out, only for emergencies apparently. And so I asked him what the situation was there, and he also has a girlfriend who is a nurse in the hospital, and he said that a lot of the cases they get in the hospital are people infected with the virus, that she herself was infected with the virus since yesterday, I think, and that there are many deaths caused by the virus, and that they hear about the deaths every day. But of course, it concerns mainly, and now I'm talking about the deaths, it concerns mainly people who are already weak, so elderly people, people who already suffer from diseases, who have a very low immune system. So I don't want to spread the fear telling you that information. I just want to say maybe to the people who think that it's kind of benign, that it is not. This is a kind of a flu that has mutated. It turns into pneumonia. And I also asked my ex-boyfriend if he thought it was possible that this disease would come out of a laboratory, and he said, yeah, definitely, it's very possible. So again, knowing if it's made on purpose or not, that is a big question mark. I'm not going to answer specifically that question. I leave it up to you, your own opinion. But nevertheless, what I personally feel and think is that there needed to be a kind of reason for the collapse. And let's face it, over the past few years, we all have been wondering what kind of reason there would be. So first we thought maybe a good world war, that would be good to spread the fear and, and generate the collapse, or a pandemic. That's also a very rapid way of spreading fear and creating chaos. And that's actually what is happening right now. So the situation that Italy is experiencing right now will very likely also happen in other countries, other European countries especially. So we can prepare ourselves for maybe this quarantine that is going to happen. But on the positive side, I think that if there is a true danger with this virus, I think it's maybe a good decision to stay at home for a couple of weeks and just wait for this virus to disappear. I would also like to mention a very important date this year, and that date is April 4th. So on that day, astrologically, Jupiter will be in an exact conjunction with Pluto, but energetically there's going to be a very big portal, probably one of the most important portals of the year, and which will create a major shift on planet Earth. So there's going to be a major shift of the timelines of the planet, and then there's going to be a kind of speeding up of things, and then a kind of turn of events globally. I don't know exactly what it will be, but this is the information that I got. So I think on that day it's going to be really important to meditate, so to do collective meditations. I will probably do one and put it out for that day as well. But to really gather, or if not physically, at least, you know, through telepathy or whatever, with the human collective, so we can all really gather together and anchor the light, because it's really, really important to anchor the light the more we can, so creating kind of pillars of light everywhere. So we really support and assist really these transformations that we're going through. And another thing that is really important is to use maybe also this period maybe of confinement and staying at home, and to use it in a constructive way. And that constructive way for me, for example, I'm going to really like deepen my spiritual practice. I'm really going to do a lot of meditation, and not only just meditating, but being present in my daily routine as well, because the state of meditation becomes really interesting when you try to apply it also outside of just a meditation. And like I said before, you know, it's like this, to find this presence, this divine presence within, it's going to be really, really important, and we can really use this time that we'll have maybe at home to deepen that practice. And the more we do that, the more we are going to be able to not only elevate our vibration, but to elevate also our consciousness, because I feel that for many of us, there's really also this shift of consciousness that is happening. It's almost like we are being tested right now by the universe, and to know exactly where we are at concerning all these subjects, and really just allowing things to happen and allowing things to unfold in the end. I think that's the most important thing. And not overly identifying with what is happening in the world, knowing that we are always protected, we are always guided by the light. So I hope this was useful for you, and don't hesitate to share this video so it can help also other people around you. I wish you love and light. Sat Nam.